recording na. Okay. Good day, everyone. We are Group 3, and we will be discussing the first part of Module 7, alcohols, phenols, thiols, ether, and thioethers. So first, what are these compounds? Alcohols are organic compounds that contain an OH group attached to a carbon chain, while phenols are similar. But the OH group is directly attached to an aromatic ring like benzene. Even though they both have OH groups, their properties are quite different because of their structure. Now, for our objectives, by the end of this discussion, we should be able to first describe the physical and chemical properties of alcohol, phenols, ether, thiols, and thioether. Second is to discuss the pharmaceutical importance of alcohol, phenols, ether, thiols, and thioether. So basically, we want to know how they behave and why they are important, especially in medicine and industry.
Now, for a very nice illustration in this slide, I will be the one to discuss it. Organic compounds can be divided into two categories, the hydrocarbons and the hydrocarbon derivatives. Let us focus first on the hydrocarbons part. Hydrocarbons are compounds that consist of exclusively carbon and hydrogen atoms. It can be divided into two, which are the aliphatic hydrocarbons and aromatic hydrocarbons. As mentioned in our laboratory class, aliphatic hydrocarbons include straight chain or cyclic structures like alkanes, alkenes, and alkynes, and also cycloalkanes, whereas aromatic hydrocarbons are primarily represented by arenes, or compounds containing a benzene ring. Now, for the hydrocarbon derivatives, these are organic compounds where one or more hydrogen atoms have been replaced or substituted by other functional groups. It is divided into 5 categories based on the heteroatom involved. For oxygen, we have alcohol, phenol, ether, ketone, aldehyde, carboxylic acid, ester, and acid anhydride. For nitrogen, we have amines, imines, amides, and nitriles, and also nitrile compounds. For phosphorus, it includes organophosphates. For sulfur, it includes thiols, sulfides, disulfides, and sulfoxides. And lastly, for halogens, it includes alkyl halides and acid halides.
Okay, so now let us discuss alcohol nomenclature. So, alcohols will be treated differently from simple alkanes. Alcohols bear the suffix ol or anol instead of ane to indicate the presence of the hydroxyl group. So, ano yung pinaka-common example natin dito? Yung methane, magiging siyang methanol. And yung ethane, magiging siyang ethanol. Now, for times where there are more than one hydroxyl groups present, we will modify the suffix by adding a prefix such as di, tri, and so forth and so to indicate the number of hydroxyl groups present. So, we have examples here listed, yung andiol, antriol, and an example in applying this suffix is butanediol and hexanetriol. Normally, if these alcohols only contain one hydroxyl group, it would be named as butanol and hexanol. But the di and tri prefix added to the suffix indicates that butanol has two hydroxyl groups and hexanol has three hydroxyl groups. So, huwag kayong magpapalito ah. When naming alcohols, change the suffix into ol, and if there are more than one hydroxyl groups, add a prefix to your suffix. Now, let us go through the rules in naming alcohols. So, number 1, identify the longest carbon chain that contains the hydroxyl group. Now, it is very important that the hydroxyl is part of the parent chain. If there is an instance where there is a longer chain that does not include the hydroxyl group, it will be treated as a substituent. I'll explain the structures below in the next slide after explaining the second rule. So, for our second rule, number the carbon chain in such a way that the hydroxyl group gets the lowest possible number. The hydroxyl group has naming priority over most functional groups, with the sole exception of carbonyl groups. So, ano yung mga example of carbonyl groups natin kasi? Ketones and aldehydes. So, for the structure below, nauna tayo sa left side kasi nandoon yung hydroxyl group natin. And dito sa right structure, nauna din tayo sa left side since nandoon yung lowest na bilang ng hydroxyl group. Pero inuna natin din is yung methyl para sa alphabetical order. Next. When naming cyclic alcohols, the carbon attached to the hydroxyl group is automatically considered carbon 1. In this rule, exception na naman natin yung carbonyl groups. So, I'll explain the structures din sa last slides natin since nandun din naman sila. Next. Now, if there are multiple hydroxyl groups in a ring, we assign numbers to show their exact positions para hindi tayo malito kung nasaan yung mga hydroxyl natin. And finally, as what I've said before, kapag naming alcohols, aalisin mo yung E from the parent alkene chain and mag-a-add tayo ng all. And if there are multiple alcohols present, maglalagay tayo ng tri or di before the all para ma-indicate kung ilan yung mga hydroxyl groups. Next. Okay, so I'll briefly explain yung mga structures natin dito. Yung cyclohexanol, since we considered yung hydroxyl group natin as carbon 1, hindi na natin i-indicate yung number 1. So, cyclohexanol na tayo agad. Tapos, dito sa pangalawa natin, yung 1,4-cyclohexanediol. So, nandito yung rule natin na i-indicate natin when there are more than one hydroxyl group kung saan sila nakalagay. Kapag kinout nyo, nasa 1 and 4 carbon sila. And since dalawa yung hydroxyl natin, maglalagay tayo ng prefix sa suffix natin, which is di, para ma-indicate na meron tayong 2. Next. Yung 2-methyl-1-cyclohexanol natin, mauna pa din yung bilang natin dun sa hydroxyl natin. Pero una natin isusulat yung methyl para alphabetically ordered siya. And dito sa baba, same din siya. Una tayo nagbilang dun sa lower 2 na hydroxyl group para makuha natin yung lowest number and indicate natin kung ano yung mga position nila, kung ano number nila, tapos unang isusulat yung methyl. And same goes with the last one, cyclopentanol. Next. So, kahit na ganyan yung format niya, same din siya dun sa pag-name natin kanina. So, dito sa una, meron tayong butanol. Kasi, kung titingnan mo, meron tayong 4 carbon chains in a straight line. So, yung parent chain natin is butane. So, we will change it to all. Tapos, since yung hydroxyl group natin, dun tayo unang magbibilang, magiging siyang 1-butanol. Or we can just simply write butanol. Next, yung nasa baba nun, it is actually 2-butanol. Kasi, same lang siya dun sa nakita natin kanina, diba? 4 yung carbon natin, so butane siya. And yung difference dito, nasa second carbon yung hydroxyl group natin. So instead of 1, magiging siyang 2. So we need to indicate that na. Tapos next, our 2-propanol. So we have 3 carbons, which is propane. Tapos yung hydroxyl group natin, nasa middle carbon, which is 2. Now, meron tayong special mga common names sa mga ganitong structure where kaya tawag natin siyang isopropyl alcohol, which will be discussed in the following slides.
Now, moving on to the common names of alcohol. So, first bullet, all alcohols will also have a common name, which is often used interchangeably with a UPAC name. Diba, in chemistry, there are two ways to name a substance or a compound, the IUPAC name and also the common name. This bullet just simply means that all alcohols have a common name and its corresponding IUPAC name. So, ibig sabihin, we can use either of the two. In the second bullet naman, the common name is formatted by identifying the alkyl group attached to the oxygen atom and adding, as a separate word, the term alcohol. This simply means na hahatiin mo yung name ng molecule at the oxygen or doon sa hydroxyl group after mo ma-identify yung alkyl group. And then just write the word alcohol afterward. And then for the third bullet, we have here the two examples. First is the methanol. The IUPAC name is methanol. The alkyl group of methanol is methyl. Thus, yung common name niya nun would be methyl alcohol. Another example is the ethanol. The IUPAC name is ethanol. The alkyl group is ethyl. Therefore, the common name would be ethyl alcohol. Next. So here are more examples to further understand and master identifying the common names of alcohols. Just remember to look at the entire carbon skeleton that is attached to the oxygen atom. So first one, we have yung IUPAC name na 1-propanol kasi it has 3 carbon chain where an OH group is attached at the first carbon, kaya siya 1-propanol. So the common name for this would be propyl alcohol, since yung alkyl group lies under the propyl group. Then, for the second one, it is the 2-propanol. Yung 2-propanol niya, kaya 2-propanol yung tawag kasi the OH group is attached to the middle carbon or to the second carbon. And meron siyang 3 carbons in overall. So, di ba, if you remember, yung specific structure na to, ito yung prefix na iso. Thus, the common name would be isopropyl alcohol. And then, the third one is called 1-butanol. 1-butanol siya since it has 4 carbons and an alcohol attached to the first carbon. And the common name would be butyl alcohol. And lastly, this one is called 2-methyl 2-propanol. Kaya siya 2-methyl kasi it has the methyl on the second carbon and the carbon attached to the OH group is also attached to the 3 other carbons, which is called the tertiary carbons. If you guys still remember, this specific structure has the prefix naman na tert. Kaya yung common name would be tert-butyl alcohol or in short, T-butyl alcohol. Now, let us move forward to the classification of alcohols. So, alcohols can be classified into 2. So, let us first tackle the first one. The first one is based on the number of R groups or the carbon chain that is bonded to the hydroxyl-bearing carbon. So, under the R groups, we have the 3 subcategories. First is the primary alcohol. In the primary alcohol, the carbon that bears the hydroxyl group is attached to only one other carbon group. Hence the name primary. Primary 1. Then kapag secondary alcohol, the carbon bearing the hydroxyl group is attached to 2 other carbon groups. Kaya the name is secondary. Kapag secondary, 2. And then lastly, for tertiary alcohol, the carbon bearing the hydroxyl group is attached to the 3 other carbon groups. Hence the name tertiary. Kaya siya tertiary kasi 3. And then for the next category or classification, it is based on the number of hydroxyl groups. In the number of hydroxyl groups, this looks at how many hydroxyl groups exist in a molecule. And the higher the number of hydroxyl groups, the more hydrophilic the molecule becomes. So, in the classification naman, the number of hydroxyl groups, it also has 3 subcategories. First is the monohydric alcohol. Monohydric alcohol, mono means one, kaya isang OH group lang yung nasa molecule. Dihydric alcohol, di means two, kaya dalawa yung OH group na nasa molecule. And then polyhydric alcohol, it is three or more OH group that is present in the molecule. Next slide. So here are further examples for us to understand the classification of alcohol that is based on the number of OH group. So first one, we have yung ethylene glycol. The ethylene glycol has the new version of the IUPAC name na ethane 1,2-diol. So it is a dihydric alcohol since it has two OH groups. And in terms of function or parang use of ethylene glycol, it is used as a raw material in producing polyester fibers and in antifreeze. Antifreeze means to lower the freezing point of water. And then we also have glycerol. Glycerol is also known as propane 1,2,3-triol. It is a trihydric alcohol since it has three OH groups. Glycerol also serves as the backbone to hold the fatty acids together to form triglycerides. Triglycerides is the form in which your body stores fat. And it is also humectant, meaning it retains moisture. And lastly, we have the D-glucose. D-glucose is a polyhydric alcohol. Ibig sabihin, it has many or more than 3 na OH groups in its carbon chain. As you can see, meron siyang 4 na OH group. So, D-glucose is a type of sugar that is present in the blood. It is useful as it serves as the fuel of our body, and the presence of many hydroxyl groups will help the glucose to dissolve and travel much easier in our cells to provide energy.
Moving on to the properties of alcohols and phenols, we will discuss their structure and geometry, boiling point, acidity and basicity, and their importance in the pharmaceutical industry of alcohol. But first, let's start with their structure and geometry. Alcohols and phenols have almost similar geometry about the oxygen atom as water bond angle ROH is almost tetrahedral. And the oxygen atom is sp3 hybridized, in which they are the same because of the number of electron groups, which is 2 sigma bonds and 2 lone pairs. Now, their central atom is, I stated, oxygen, and the oxygen has 6 valence electrons, leading to 2 bond pairs and 2 lone pairs, thus resulting sp hybridization, and they are the same. Next, for their boiling point, they're similar to water. Alcohols and phenols have higher boiling points because of hydrogen bonding. Now, what does that mean? Both of them contain hydroxyl group, negative OH, in which they form a strong intermolecular hydrogen bond requiring more exertion and energy for it to break during the process of boiling. Now, next we will move on to acidity and basicity. Alcohols and phenols are both weakly basic and weakly acidic. First, as a weak bases, they are reversible protonated by a strong acid that yields to ions ROH2. And next, as for weak acids, they deassociate slightly in dilute aqueous solution by nolating a proton to water, generating H3O plus and a alkoxide ion, RO negative, or a phenoxide ion, ARO. In which, if you see in the next slide, you can see here in this section the properties of alcohols and phenols with their constant classification that nitrophenol has a stronger acid, 7.15, basically stating on how the different kinds of phenols or alcohols has the weak acid or strong acids. Now let's move on to their importance. In industrially and pharmaceutical importance of alcohol, first we have phenol, which is also known as wood alcohol. Now, this is historically prepared by heating wood in the absence of air, and today, catalytically reduction of CO with H2. It is also toxic to humans, causing blindness 15 ml and death 100 to 215 ml. It is also used as a solvent and starting material for production of formaldehyde or acetic acid. Now, next, lastly, we have ethanol. It is also obtained from the fermentation of grains and grapes as far as 12th century, and today obtained by fermentation of corn, barley, sorghum, and other plant sources. It is also used as an automobile fuel and an antiseptic. And lastly, it's also a solvent which is obtained by acid catalyzed hydration of ethylene at high temperature. That's all for properties and importance. Moving on to JC, he will now explain the Lucas test.
And now we move on to the Lucas test. The Lucas test is used for some alcohols which uses the Lucas reagent, that is zinc chloride concentrated hydrochloric acid, and is a quick and classic laboratory method used to distinguish between primary, secondary, and tertiary alcohols. Uh, the Lucas test relies on a reagent made of concentrated hydrochloric acid and an anhydrous zinc chloride. The test works by converting the alcohol into an alkyl chloride, which is insoluble in the reagent and appears as a cloudy, milky layer or oily droplets in the test tube. The speed of this reaction depends entirely on the stability of the carbocation intermediate formed during the process. Because tertiary alcohols form very stable carbocations, they react almost instantly, turning the solution cloudy within seconds. Secondary alcohols are a bit slower, typically taking 5 minutes to show visible cloudiness. Primary alcohols, however, are the least reactive and generally do not react at room temperature at all, leaving the solution clear unless heat is applied. This clear difference in timing makes it a reliable way to rank the structure of an unknown alcohol sample. The chemical transformation can be represented by the following general equation. Alcohol plus hydrochloric acid is the reactant, and then the product will be alloalkanes plus water. So the alcohol, which is the ROH, and hydrochloric acid are the reactants, which will then be converted to the product, which are alloalkanes and water, with the zinc chloride being the one to interlink them. So we move on to the important note about alcohol. First one is the OH group. OH group can form ion dipole and H bond. The hydroxyl group is polar because oxygen is much more electronegative than hydrogen. For the H bonding, the partial positive hydrogen can bond with electronegative atoms like oxygen or nitrogen in biological receptors. For the ion dipole, it can interact with charged ions in the body. These interactions are the glue that allows a drug to stick to its target protein or enzymes in the body. We move on to OH group can enhance water solubility. Hydrocarbons like fats and oils are hydrophobic, which means water-fearing. By adding an OH group, the molecule becomes more hydrophilic or water-loving. Most of the human body is water. Increasing solubility ensures the drug can dissolve in the stomach, enter the bloodstream, and reach its target rather than just passing through the system unabsorbed. And then for the next one is esterified to form prodrugs. Alcohol can be reacted with acids to form esters. What is a prodrug? It is a version of a drug that is inactive when swallowed but becomes active after a chemical reaction in the body. If a drug is too bitter, easily destroyed by stomach acid, or poorly absorbed, chemists turn the OH group into an ester. Once inside the body, enzymes called esterases snip the ester off, releasing the active drug. And now for the metabolism. The metabolism is how your body chemically alters a drug to eventually get rid of it. Under metabolism are specific ways the body handles alcohol, which are oxidation and glucuronidation or sulfate conjugation. For oxidation, enzymes like alcohol dehydrogenase convert alcohols into carbonyl compounds like aldehydes, ketones, or carboxylic acids. This is a phase 1 metabolic reaction. And then for glucuronidation or sulfate conjugation, this is a phase 2 reaction. The body tags the OH group by attaching a large highly water soluble sugar molecule or a sulfate group. This tagging makes the molecule so water soluble that the kidneys can easily flush it out through urine, preventing the drug from building up to toxic levels.
Next, we have the hydrocarbon derivatives. Phenols belong to a group called hydrocarbon derivatives. This means they come from hydrocarbons, but one hydrogen atom is replaced by a functional group, in this case, the hydroxyl group or the OH. Because the OH is attached to an aromatic ring, phenols are more acidic than alcohols and more reactive in certain reactions. Historically, phenols played a very important role during World War One because it was used in the production of explosives such as trinitrophenol or TNP. Now, in terms of preparation or production, one method mentioned is the dough process, where chlorobenzene reacts with sodium hydroxide at high temperature and pressure to produce phenol. Another common and more modern method is the cumene process. In this process, cumene reacts with oxygen. It forms an intermediate called hydroperoxide. Then, through acid treatment, it breaks down into phenol and acetone. So, take note, dalawa yung products, phenol and acetone. And both are industrially useful. Phenols have many important applications in both industry and healthcare. First, they are used in the production of resins and adhesives, which are important in plastics and construction materials. Second, hospital antiseptics and disinfectants. Third, they are used as food preservatives, helping prevent food spoilage. And fourth, herbicides, which are used in agriculture to control unwanted plants. There are also specific examples like BHA, butylated hydroxyanisole, and BHT, butylated hydroxytoluene. These are synthetic phenolic antioxidants used primarily as preservatives to stop fats and oils from spoiling or becoming rancid in food, cosmetics, and pharmaceutical products. Additionally, phenol itself is known as a disinfectant originally found from coal tar, and it is also used as an intermediate in producing many pharmaceutical products. Now, for some important properties of phenols. First, they can form hydrogen bonds and ion dipole interactions which affect their solubility. Second, the OH group increases water solubility. Third, they can be esterified to form prodrugs. Tulad nga ng sinabi ni JC, meaning phenols can be changed into a temporary inactive form called a prodrug that only becomes active once it is inside the body. Fourth, however, they are susceptible to oxidation, especially when exposed to air or ferric ions. Phenols are metabolized mainly to make them more water soluble so the body can eliminate them easily. First, we have aromatic hydroxylation. An extra hydroxyl group is added to the aromatic ring, making the compound more polar and reactive for further metabolism. Second, glucuronidation or sulfate conjugation. The phenyl group is attached to either glucuronic acid or sulfate. This greatly increases water solubility, allowing the compound to be excreted in urine. Last, O-methylation. A methyl group is added to the oxygen of the phenol, which can reduce its reactivity and alter its biological activity. Overall, these processes help detoxify phenols and facilitate their removal from the body. That's all for our group. Thank you.